All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Behind the Wheel. All right, let me go ahead and turn this down. Still learning it, like I said. All right. Definitely, definitely want to stop saying, "Can you hear it?" All right, give me 1 second. Yeah, it's not turning off. Oh, here we go. All right. Okay. So little technical difficulties there. Well, that just goes to you that we're real human beings making real problems. So welcome to Behind the Wheel. I am here, and it is an honor to have a good friend of mine, Brittany, here to talk today about finding balance. Life can be all up and down, right? A whole bunch of things happening in your life, and trying to find balance in life with work, with stressors, with your job, with love and relationships, and all this bullshit can be a lot. And if you're not careful, it can definitely, I don't know, take over, and you can lead in one way or the other. So I'm actually really excited because I think I need some balance. I work a lot, so I'd like to hear what you got to say there, Brittany. Go ahead and drop some knowledge.
All right, cool. Hello, I'm Brittany. I've never done one of these things, so we'll see what happens. I guess I just talk and then see what comes up. This was a subject that was very pertinent to what I'm kind of dealing with right now. Um, that saying like life do be lifing, and life was definitely life and for me this past month or two. So about 2 months ago I received the opportunity to become a head sous chef at my job. So basically, you have in kitchen hierarchy, I'm a chef, and in most kitchens the hierarchy is um executive chef, then you have like one or two head sous chefs, then sometimes you'll have in some kitchens you'll have one or two junior sous, and then like line cooks, so on and so forth. um and so we're one of those kitchens where you have um head sous, junior sous, and then line cooks. So I was a junior sous for about a year, and then I got offered a promotion to become a head sous chef, and
Awesome.
yeah, this is really cool stuff. At first, I really wasn't gonna take it because I just thought like it's a fancy restaurant. It's very like pretentious and snooty. I mean, we make delicious food, but it is for like that kind of people. But I don't want to discourage. Like, you still should come if even if like we make good food. So, anyways, um, I wasn't gonna take it at first because I'm a victim of self sabotage a lot too. So I was just like they were like, well, why wouldn't you want to take it? So I gave them the a myriad of excuses. Well, like I can't remember. Like one of the ones was like, this is a real bullshit. I was like, well, the schedule, because wouldn't I have to work weekends now and blah blah blah, and I just like made up. I was like, I don't think I'm ready and blah blah blah. Just threw all these excuses at him, and but what it boiled down to, if I was being super honest about it, was that uh I just didn't think I was good enough, and I thought I wouldn't do a good job. And um, it's funny how like what'll happen is like someone introduced to me this novel idea when I was talking to the head chef about it. He was like, "Well, you might not be like all the way there, but like we can train you." And I thought my brain was gonna explode. I was like, "Train me," because I don't know why I just thought like I was supposed to just like know everything. I was like, well, that's why I'm getting the job, because I already know how to do it, and that's silly. So I don't know. After doing some praying and some soul searching and looking at my life, and of course talking to my support system, family, friends. I am in recovery, so I have a sponsor and all of that. um I talk to her, and I have a therapist, and I talk to everybody, because I have to do that these days, because again, like, I'm very good at self-sabotaging, so I need the whole, like, um yeah, I call it emotional checks and balances. It's how the government's supposed to work. Right now, it's not working that way, but generally, in most, like, in a check and balance system, particularly as it pertains to government, like, one sector of government want to do something, and then you get the other two sectors to say, "Hey, before you do this, why don't you think or check about this, this, that?" That's basically like how it is. So basically, that's what I think. Like, you know, a good portion of my recovery is just like a lot of life and emotional checks and balances. So I talked to my sponsor, blah blah blah, and my sponsor was like, "Well, eh, in how it's simple. They just say such simple stuff, even though, like, and it's so, like, mind blowing to you." She was like, "Well, if they didn't think you could do the job, they wouldn't even have considered you." And I was like, "Oh fuck, she's right." Oh, I don't know if you can cuss on here. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you can
cuss.
do whatever you want.
Okay, sweet. All right, I was gonna say bleep it out or whatever you have to do. Um. So, yeah, and I was like, you know what? That's true. Like, if they believe in me enough to give me the job, maybe I should believe in myself enough to take the job. And I did.
Good point.
And it's funny. So, like, they offered me the job. I cried because it was really cool. Like, because I thought about, like, where I was around the same time 4 years ago, before I really got into long term recovery. Around that time, 4 years ago, I was like homeless, trying to get back to Richmond to start my life over. So it was like this real cool symbolic thing. I cried, and then what's funny is, like, the next week I also cried, but because the because of the job. Like, I cried because I got the job, and then, like, a week later I cried because I had the job, and they were like two completely, like, I cried one out of happiness, and then the next time I cried out of being, like, completely overwhelmed, because this is the nature of a kitchen. So I got the job, and then, like, the next week they were like, "Hey, the head sous chef, his wife has to have emergency surgery," and then the head executive chef was going out of town to a fucking Fish concert. We all have our cooks or whatever. Okay. Um. So, if you a Fish fan, to each his own, whatever. But anyways, so they were like, "Hey, we're kind of throwing you in this," which is kind of a lot of times how most people learn in kitchens. And so, let me speed this up. So how it pertains to this is, so that week, my schedule went from, as a junior, to, it was very set and routine. I worked very, like, normal hours. It was generally Monday through Friday, basically 9 to 5. That was my schedule as a junior. So it was very, like, set and routine, and I worked out this wonderful routine in my life where, um so I would work Monday through Friday. I would go to a few meetings during the week. um Saturday and Sunday I would take some me time. Particularly Saturday, I would take a little bit of me time, do some self-care, clean up the house, be a little social with friends and stuff. And then Sunday I would generally reserve that to seeing all my sponsees, which at most given times I would have between 4 to 5. So I would set it up that way, and it worked for a while. Like, most of that year, that's what I did, and life was pretty comfortable. And then I got this job, and they were like, "Well, fuck that schedule. Here's your new one," and it's just all over the place because, again, the nature of a kitchen is people leave, people don't work out, blah blah blah. So on top of getting the new position, like, two people left too. So we were just, like, terribly short staffed. So I worked so much, and it was the first week where I had to like do like actual chef stuff, because as glamorous as chef cooking, it's not that glamorous as we can see. I cut myself the other day, but um what happened was is now that I'm like a manager, like, yeah, I have to like do paperwork and sit down on the
Yeah.
computer. It's not all like chopping shit and making recipes and cooking. And that was that part was more overwhelming. And then also running the kitchen, you have to like really handle people's attitudes, and you
Mm,
really have to deal with things they have going on, because another cook, he was quite overworked as well, so he was just like full of piss and vinegar. Just he was tired, so he had like this shit attitude.
yeah.
Some of the front of the house people did. It was just like a lot, because again, I work at a fine dining restaurant that's also in a museum, so they're based on the exhibits as well. And we were on the back end of an insanely popular um um exhibit. So it was just like people. We were doing like almost 300 people a day. We were short staffed.
Wow.
So yeah, basically it was just like a lot. So I remember like at the end of one shift, the guy who was like pretty overwhelmed, he was like, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. Like, this was a terrible shift today. And I did that thing where I personalized it, and I was like, it's my fault, I'm a shitty leader. So I ran in the bathroom and cried. And I just was like, what am I doing? And what I realized was that whole week, I had to cancel on my sponsees. I
Mm,
didn't make any meetings.
mm,
I didn't talk to my sponsor. I also had to reschedule my therapist appointment. So what I also realized was, on top of getting this new job, I had not had the opportunity to do the things that like kind of got me in line and received the opportunity to get the job. So no wonder I was so like emotionally wrecked, because there was no emotional checks and balances in my life. So
mm.
now, um, circumstances. This was like a month and a half ago. So now what's going on is the rigmarole, like trying to see how all of this fits in to this new overwhelming schedule. So that's where I'm at. I'm trying to. Last Sunday, it was the first like weekend day I got off in a while, and I remember a couple of sponsors called me, and I said, I'm going to make this commitment to see y'all, and no matter what, I'm going to make it. And I also committed to going to a meeting. So I got up that day, I went to a meeting, and then I saw my
Oh,
sponsees. 360, like the not 360, yeah, 180 difference that it does. um it just I realized like that's like I have to, they say, it gets harder to maintain sobriety the longer you stay sober. That's so true, because what happens is like you start getting your life back, but then like sometimes what can happen is that this life you're getting back can sometimes get in the way of the things you did or I did to get the life that I'm having today. And when those times get like that, like when life gets hard, I have to work harder, basically. Not just like at the job, but I mean in life too. So it's been like a bit of a, it's a tightrope walk, but I think just like anything, like I had to learn to be sober, I had to learn to live in sobriety. I had to learn like basic shit, like how to pay a bill. I had to learn, this is kind of embarrassing, but when I first got into sobriety period, I had to learn that baths was something you do uh daily. I had to learn hygiene. I had to learn how to wash clothes properly. I had to learn how to separate whites and darks. And this is no different from that. I have to learn like where these things fit in, and part of that balance is also having to learn how to say no. A couple weeks ago, my head chef called.
Mm.
My head chef called and was like, "Listen, we short staff. Like, I need you to come in and work." And I think I had already, like a couple weeks before that, I committed to speaking at this meeting, and I was like, "No, I can't do it. I have to keep this commitment." Like, because I had to kind of put my foot down and say, "Hey, if you want me to be a productive chef and not smoke crack and leave, I have to go to meetings, man. Like, I gotta do what I have to do." Oh,
I lost
internet.
you for a second.
Oh, yeah.
I think I don't know. The internet just like stopped, but you were still on, right?
I think mine's. I don't know what's happening now. I was just rambling. Though. I didn't pay attention. Uh,
Oh, this is the good
yeah,
stuff. See, this is what happens, y'all.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Maintain
so I
them
was gonna
balance.
say, huh?
Huh? What
I
you
was
say?
gonna say, you have a. I mean, from what I've gathered, from when I first met you, what, like 2, 3 years ago. I mean, you definitely have come so far, man. Like just what? Because you used to come into the treatment program and help out, a lot of the girls there, and I mean, now, yeah, you're managing and like trying to find balance. Like the fact that I love the fact that you said you had to learn to say no as an addict and alcoholic and a huge codependent. I love to people please. So
Yeah.
saying no is next to impossible, right? And um that's awesome that you learned how to do that. I mean, um I don't know, like how was it for you? Did you just start just saying no, or I cut out when you were about to tell your story?
Oh, so yeah, I told him. I was like, "No, I can't do it," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not able to." And he was like, "I guess I'll call someone else." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Have a nice night." And I think he thought I was like being super attitudey or dismissive, so he texted me and was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you'd be able to do it." And I was like, "No, no, bro. Like, I was like, I just, I had to say no because I committed to speaking to this meeting, and it's important for me to keep those commitments. And then also, you called me right when I was about to jump into the shower, so I was naked and cold, so I needed to like get in the shower. Like I wasn't trying to brush you off the phone, bro. I was actually jumping in the shower to speak at another meeting, which was
Yeah.
strange. Like that's a really cool thing too. Sometimes how the universe, higher power, whatever you want to call it, how that works. Um, Again, that was like the week right after all of that stuff happened. With me being overwhelmed at the new position. Um, because I remember I was like, man, like I feel super. I feel like a bit disconnected from the program and from like my life in recovery, and I got called to speak at meetings like back to back to back, which was really cool. And what it did was is it helped me really gain some perspective as to how you were saying how far I've actually come, you know. But it also helped me realize that like I can't rest on those laurels. Like the thing that kept me sober yesterday may not be the thing that keeps me sober today. So it's super
Mm,
important that I do all of the things um as often as I can, almost all of the time. So, like
mhm,
that does involve saying no sometimes because,
mhm,
um, we come from this treatment center. That's an awesome place. But a lot of times, the thing I found from this treatment center that is not like super conducive to my life all the time now is, they really stress the adage of like really showing up. You have to show up, and you have to be there, and you know you have to be responsible. But sometimes that responsibility is to oneself. And sometimes the responsible thing to do for oneself is to say, no, I can't make this today. No, I can't do this today. Um, and uh, that's something that I learned outside of those walls, and that I also learned that it's just as important as like being being showing up for people. But again, that's that balance, you know, like I have to work on, you know, how much do I show up for people? How much do I, you know, make sure I'm able
Mm.
to be there for people, but also how much, you know, do I need to make sure that I'm there for me? Because sometimes being there for me is being left the fuck alone, you know, like just being by
Mm.
oneself.
That's beautiful,
Yes, like
Britt. Like for real, I think it's super important. Like for finding balance in life, as someone I love to do everything, like balls to the wall, just like go, head first. And I
yeah,
forget sometimes that there are things that I need to do for myself in order to just continue to be okay. Like if I'm always working all the time and I'm not talking to someone, I notice that I'll get lonely, right? And when I start getting lonely, then I get really agitated and I'm like yelling and screaming at people, cursing people out. And like that's just not healthy for me. So I mean, things that I do for myself on a daily basis. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, before anything, I mean, I got to use the bathroom first, and then I take my medicine. Because if I don't take my medicine, then, I'm going to be balls to the wall again. And then, I
yeah,
make sure that I don't have my therapy going, whatever, because I have to do therapy too to help just kind of keep me centered, and
yeah,
then there's also meetings that I do online, which thank you, by the way, for being on that. They loved you. That's awesome. And it was, doing stuff like that and being of service is part of how I find balance and how to live a healthier and happier life. And then, not to mention, I will also try to make some time doing something that I love to do. And whether it even be like 10 minutes out of the day, it'll help calm me. So, like, I like to play guitar, and I want to play for like maybe 10 minutes or something, or maybe I'll go for a walk, or
yeah,
maybe, I don't know, like I'll go get ice cream. But I make sure I do something that I love at least 10 minutes out of the day. So that way, because I got to find balance, and
yeah,
I have to take care of me because if I don't take care of me, I can't expect you to take care of me. I can't
yeah,
expect anyone else to take care of me because they got to take care of themselves. So it's super
yeah.
important.
That's true. I agree with that.
Awesome.
You know, uh,
Yeah.
when you know we talk about being a service, you know, the program we're part of, being a service is a big important thing. But you know, it can't be lost that like sometimes the service has to be to ourselves. Because if I'm of service to myself, I find that it makes me of better service to others around me. You know, what's that saying? Like it's hard to help others fill their cup if my cup isn't. You know, like uh,
Mm-hmm.
something's got to be in the cup at least. You know, it doesn't have to be full all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be something in there. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm not, you know, in recovery, and you know, like in this, new life we're trying to live. Like in my old life, it was easy to be selfish and self-centered and to not look at people as people because I didn't have much of a love, respect, adoration for myself. So it was damn near impossible to look or find that in other people. So, you know, when I came into this program, New Way of Life, you know, it was very beneficial to have other people at first say, "Hey, we love you. We're glad you're here," and that's cool. But we have to get around to the self-love. Um, and I found that working on that self-love and self-respect by doing self-care things and on the other end of that also being there for people. It's funny how that worked. Like when I was doing night in the beginning, when I was doing nice things for other people, it made me feel good about me. And then like it also opened up this new world of thought that like, well, maybe I do like deserve some good things to happen to me. And not in an egotistical way. But what happened was I realized that like I'm a good person. And And you know, there's nothing wrong with good things happening to good people.
Yeah.
And uh, when good things started to happen to me, you know, what's really cool is that like the ego didn't move in this time. You know, like I gave a good amount of the credit to, you know, like the universe and my higher power. But there's also, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying like, yes, the opportunity for these good things might have been God given, a universe given, but I put in the fucking footwork as well. You know, like there's nothing wrong with saying like I did, you know, like I did the hard things. And there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that I did the hard things, but not in an egotistical way.
Mm.
Because what happened was is when I looked at that and not an egotistical way, I surprised myself. Like, oh my God, I got through this. So maybe I am, you know, like strong. Maybe I am, you know, determined. And uh, it was all this like really cool learning process to get to know Brittany. And
Mm.
what I found uh, about Brittany, what I found out is that like Brittany's a very cool person, you know, and uh, Brittany's like a pretty cool person to be around because Brittany is right size in the world today, and being
Mhm.
is, you know, not being big enough for the ego, saying that it's all about me and I'm the most important person, but it's also not being small enough, saying like, um, you know, I have to do all these things for people all the time because, like, you know, if I don't do these things, I constantly blah blah. Like, I no longer, you know, on the other end of not being super egotistical and self-centered. I also no longer chop myself down to other people's expenses. So, it's been like that's one of the really cool balancing acts that recovery and like living this new way of life has very much taught me to do. You know, find that balance in that.
That's awesome. So, if you were to have, and we're starting to get close to time. Um,
Mm.
if you were, it's about 27 minutes, just so you know. If you were to give some advice, I mean, obviously you gave some great advice so far, but like if someone that was, I mean, if someone was in recovery or not recovery, because I mean, this is open to just anybody. But like one thing I do find, us as people, we get so stressed out, right? We get so stuck in like our own shit. So,
Yeah.
what would you tell them to do, to find balance?
Uh, let's see. Well, I think one of the biggest lessons I learned was like take the task of, you know, sobriety and self happiness and, you know, contentment with life. Take those tasks seriously, but don't take oneself too seriously. Um, you know, what I learned and the advice that I can give you is that like if it's not gonna kill you, you'll probably be okay. That's not like super profound or nothing, but like I mean that's really like how I learned it. You know, emotions are gonna kill me and feeling them are gonna kill me, but you know, doing what I used to do prior to recovery, doing drugs over them may kill me. And oftentimes one will be surprised what they find on the other side. You know, life's gonna life, uh, and you kind of just gotta be here for it. And you know, my advice is again,
Wow.
like, yeah, just don't take it too seriously, or don't take oneself too seriously. And sometimes don't take other people too fucking seriously either. That was a huge lesson I learned too. Like, don't take stuff so personally, because a lot of times when people do shit, even to you, it don't have shit to do with you. And that was like a cool lesson I learned, and it's helped me, get through a lot of emotional strife that because when I thought it was all about me, hell yeah, I took everything personal because I thought it was about me all the time, you know. But when I realized, like, to be honest, I'm just not that important, and that might be like, I don't know, like it might have a negative connotation. That might be a little like morbid, but fuck that. Like I love knowing that I'm not too important. It's just enough to be important to the people I'm important to and the people that are important to me. And yeah, I don't know if that's like some real sound advice, but that's just what I got from that. You know.
That is awesome, Brett. Seriously, you know that what we're talking about was good because it seemed like everything was going crazy. I was hopping off getting kicked off with the internet, and then also too, like the sound was a little bit off. But you know what? That just means it was deep, and someone was trying
Yeah.
to get through it. But if you're out there, if you're out there and you're having a hard time finding balance, listen to Brit here, and most definitely we appreciate that you are here there, Brit. And let me give you real quick. Hold on, let's see. What is this? There we go. That's an applause for you.
Awesome.
And as okay, not a problem. All right, y'all. This has been another episode of Behind the Wheel. And once again, life is a highway with many ups and downs. Who's behind the steering wheel? Who's behind the wheel in your life, navigating through it? All right. Until next time, y'all, thank you so much. Peace out.